Dear students, in last video we learnt about the lifespan of the organisms. This is the second video. In this video we'll study about the asexual reproduction in organisms. So what is reproduction? Reproduction, it is a biological process in which an organism gives rise to the young ones of its own kind. So in a definition, reproduction means, or it is a process, or it is defined as a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones or the offsprings which are similar to itself. So parental organism ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನು ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ organisms. So ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದು factors ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so the factors like the organism's habitat, its internal physiology, its own mechanism to multiply, etc. are the several factors which are responsible for the reproduction in organism. So based on the number of organisms involved in the reproduction, the mode of reproduction is of two types. One is the asexual one and the sexual one. So mode of reproduction here, so the types of reproduction or mode of reproduction is of two types. It is mainly based on the participation of the individuals. So the types is the asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Two types of reproduction ide. So mode of that is based on the participation of individual antandre, if only one parent is involved in the process of reproduction, that type of reproduction is referred as the asexual one. And the if the two parents of opposite sex, that is one is male and another one is the female, then that type of reproduction is referred as a sexual reproduction anta kariti. So let us study in detail with these two type of reproduction. One is asexual and another one is the sexual one. So let us first take with the asexual reproduction. So in a definition, asexual reproduction means it is a method where a single individual parent is capable of producing the offspring. So offspring means it is a daughter cells or daughter organism ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ನ್ಯೂಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಯಂಗ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರೆದ್ವಿ ಆಗಲೇ, ಆ ಯಂಗ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಗಿವ್ ರೈಸ್ ಟು ಯಂಗ್ ಒನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಯಂಗ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಆಫ್ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಆಫ್ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ನ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಏಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಥರ ಏಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಥರ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. Single celled organisms. So single celled organisms we can see the asexual type, and the lower forms of plants and animals. So the lower forms of the plants and animals we can see the asexual reproduction ಆಗೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. So the organisms, that is the offsprings which are produced, are not only identical to one another but are also exact copy of their parents which are produced from the asexual reproduction. So in last video I have explained why the organisms which are identical to their own parent, that is the single celled organism, it will divide into half. So each organism it will resemble or it is identical to their parent. So idashte identical ashte ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, it is exact copy of their parent. So ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ parental organism ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ young ones produce ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So that morphologically and genetically similar individual are termed as ಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಕ್ಲೋನ್. Clone means morphologically and genetically similar individuals are termed as clone anta kariti. And also they may ask a question, why asexually reproduced organisms are always genetically similar anta keltare. Because ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು genetically similar ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is formed by the single individual parent, and so that it is morphologically and genetically similar individual agi formation agutte anta. So there are different types or different modes of asexual reproduction in lower organisms, like the single celled organisms ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇರೋಂಥ organisms ಅಲ್ಲಿ we can see a number of types of asexual reproductions. So what are the types of asexual reproduction in, especially in the lower organisms? Lower organisms. So lower organisms ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ there are so many types of asexual reproduction types. That is, one is the binary fission. It is fission. Then the budding, encystation, sporulation, Zeus formation, conidiospores or formation of conidia, bud formation, gemule formation, then fragmentation. So these are the different types of asexual reproduction which is seen in the lower organisms. So let us discuss each type of asexual reproduction and how it is formed. So types of asexual reproduction, in that the first one is the binary fission. So the binary fission is very common in the lower organisms like amoeba, paramecium, etc. So how it takes place means, here the single cell, that is the cell itself is a single body, or the single cell itself is a body of an organism. Here the nucleus, it will get elongated, and elongated nucleus, it will further undergo division. So divided nucleus, it will move away from each other, and the cytoplasm, it will get condensed, and it will form the division of the two cells, or two newly formed nucleus, and finally it leads to the formation of the two daughter cells. So this type of division is referred as a binary fission anta karitivi. So nucleus enagutte illi first elongate agi, then it will divide into two halves, and afterwards the divided half nucleus, it will move away from each other, and the cytoplasm, it will get divide the whole cell into two parts or two halves, so that daughter cells are formed. So this type of division is called as asexual reproduction in amoeba, and that type of asexual reproduction is referred as a binary fission anta karitivi. So this is same as in case of paramecium allo agutte. So the second type of asexual reproduction, it is budding. ಬಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಬಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲೋವರ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಈಸ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌ ದ ಬಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ, ಹಿಯರ್ the yeast, so this is the yeast cell, and the division in the yeast cell, it is unequal, and the small bud are produced that remain attached initially to the parental cell, which eventually get separated and mature into new yeast organisms ಆಗಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ the parental body, it will get protrude out to form a bud like structure, and in the initial stage it will remain attached to the parental body, and later on it will get divided into the two newly formed cells agi formation agutte. And when this bud get matures, it will get detached from the body and it will grow into the new one. So this type of asexual reproduction is referred as the budding, which is commonly seen in the yeast cell. So in these two cases here, in these two cases we can see the single cell or the single individual parent individual, it is a single one. So one day parent enagide, it leads to the formation of the two daughter cells or newly formed offsprings formation agodike bari onde parental individuals ide. So hagagi it is a form of the asexual reproduction anta karitivi. So the third type is the ಎನ್ಸಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಎನ್ಸಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಅನ್ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಸೊ ದ ವೇರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೀನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಎನ್ಸಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಮನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ದ amoeba. So in the favorable condition, the amoeba undergo the binary fission. So in favorable condition, the amoeba undergo the asexual reproduction type ಯಾವ್ದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ binary fission ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Under the unfavorable condition, so especially unfavorable condition, the amoeba, it will withdraws its pseudopodia. And secretes three-layered hard covering, or it is also called as cyst. So under unfavorable condition, the amoeba, it will withdraws its pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is the locomotory organ of the amoeba. So through this pseudopodia adenagutte movement agodike help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So this pseudopodia na withdraw ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು it forms a three-layered hard covering na formation ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ, and that three-layered hard covering is called as cyst anta ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So here you can see here, this is the amebia structure. So these are the pseudopodias, which are the locomotory organ of the amoeba. So under unfavorable condition, so ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವಾಗ reproduction ಗೆ favorable condition ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, at that time this pseudopodia will get withdrawn from the organism and it forms a three-layered hard covering, and this is called as cyst ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So till this formation is called as ಎನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೊ ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಮಿಕ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಡ್, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಆರ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಕವರಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಟಿಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಎನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಫರ್ದರ್ this will move towards, so this is taking place in the unfavorable condition. When this encysted amoeba, when it reaches the favorable condition, it undergo with the sporulation. This is another type of asexual reproduction. So encystation anta andre unfavorable condition alli pseudopodia withdraw agi 3 layered hard covering formation agutte. This is called as cyst, and this cyst formation adaga the protoplasmic content, it will forms the spores and it is covered by the cyst. That type of reproduction is called as encystation anta kariti. So soon after this amoeba reaches the favorable condition, this 3-layered hard covering ಏನಿದೆ, this 3-layered hard covering, it will get ruptured so that the spores will get released out. So spores ಎಲ್ಲ release ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and released spores, it will grow into the new offspring or new young ones ಆಗಿ formation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and this type is called as a sporulation formation ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So these type, that is binary fission, then budding, the encystation and sporulation, idella forms elli types of asexual reproduction elli ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it is seen in the protists and monarians. So monarians and the protists alli we can see these type of asexual reproduction na ನಾವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. So here the organism, the cell division itself is the mode of reproduction ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Cell, the single cell divide ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇನೆ mode of reproduction ಈ types ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So next types of asexual reproduction, that is we can see that in members of kingdom like fungi and simple plants like algae. So algae ಮತ್ತೆ fungi ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ asexual reproduction ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ, it forms the special structure, special asexual structures. ಸೊ ಈ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ asexual ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಯಾವುದು asexual ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 4 ಆರ್ ದ ಒನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದ protists and the monarians, where the single cell or the cell division itself is a mode of asexual reproduction ಆಗಿತ್ತು. But in case of the members of kingdom fungi and the small plants like algae, the asexual reproduction is a type which takes place by the formation of special asexual structures ಮುಖಾಂತರ formation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So let us see what are the types of or what are the special asexual structures which are formed by the fungi and the algae, that is simple plants ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. So the first one is with the zoospore formation. Zoospore formation. So here I am writing the 5th type because it is a type of asexual reproduction itself. But in case of fungi and algae, special structures ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಯಾವ್ದು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, that is first one is the zoospore formation ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. So zoospore formation, it is common in the members of algae, like Chlamydomonas, Ulothrix, Cladophora, etc. So in algae, the asexual reproduction, it is seen by producing a special asexual structure, that is the Zeus formation mukantra agutte. So here in your syllabus they have given the example of the Chlamydomonas. So Chlamydomonas, this is the structure of the ultrastructure of the Chlamydomonas. So here the single cell itself is a body. During the asexual reproduction process, this flagella, the Chlamydomonas, it produces two biflagella. This flagella, it will get detached, and then the protoplasmic content which is present within the Chlamydomonas, it will aggregate to form a spore like structures, and these spores are formed as a zoospores anta kariತೀವಿ. So the protoplasmic content, it will aggregate and then it will undergo the division, and divided each part of the protoplasmic content, it will form into the zoospores. So after the maturation of this spores, the outer membrane of the cell, that is Chlamydomona, it will ruptured, and each spores, it will released out into the water. So after swimming for some time, the zoospores settle on a suitable substratum and grow directly into new organism which resembles its parent. So parents na resemble agutte. So here the division, it is a mitotic division. So one thing it should be remembered always, that in asexual reproduction, always the division, that is cell division, it takes place only by the mitosis. So mitosis cell division ಮುಖಾಂತರನೇ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, asexual reproduction ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So this is the first type of the asexual reproduction, which is produced by the formation of special structure, but it is the fifth type in the types of asexual reproduction. So the next one is the conidiospores formation. Conidiospores formation, or it is also referred as a conidia.